You're listening to the Wired for Impact podcast.
Sure.
Okay, so what about the other projects that you see as mass adoptable and therefore that might be good opportunities for people to invest in ahead of this wealth tsunami wave that's coming?
Yeah, for sure. And real quick, I want to preface this and say I'm not a financial advisor. I can't technically recommend things. So I'll tell you what we're interested in and why we're watching it.
There we go.
We all have to be careful as teachers within this realm to say we're not
Good
financial advisors. But the other ones we're watching, second biggest one is the Stellar Network, which is the XLM token. And this is one that's often talked about in conjunction with XRP because they have essentially a co-founder in common. And this person split off from Ripple and XRP. There were disagreements about the direction they wanted to go. And so they went and basically took a copy and paste of the XRP ledger blockchain and then created Stellar XLM. And there's deeper theories about if they're really competing, if they really have beef, or if they're actually, working together and this is part of a larger plan. But either way, they're both going for kind of the financial payment system. But while XRP is more positioned for the back end, larger transfers, institutional transfers, XLM and Stellar are positioned for the retail end. So more of the front end payments, working with merchants and businesses and things like that. So that's one of the other big ones we're watching. Another one is a layer 2 on the XRP ledger, meaning it's built on top of it. And that one is called Sologenic. And this one is very fascinating. It's actually the top project on the XRP blockchain behind XRP itself. It's the number one. And they have been given grant money through Ripple. So one of the things that we watch is like, where's Ripple investing their money? Follow the money. I want to know ahead of time, where are they planning on putting energy into? So Sologenic is one of these projects. And what they're focusing on is the tokenization of assets in the traditional financial realm onto the blockchain. So I don't know how much maybe you know about this or have had guests talk about tokenization in particular. Okay.
Yeah, explain a little more.
Yeah, so tokenization is the idea of bringing these assets onto the blockchain that don't traditionally exist there. So for instance, stocks. So stocks, right now, like we were talking about earlier, there's kind of this barrier to entry in the stock market where unless you're educated on how to actually go about investing, and in some cases, you have to be an accredited investor to get in, pre-IPO and things like this, you don't have as good of a chance in the market as people with a lot more money and knowledge. So tokenization of stocks, for one, is going to bring that access as accessible as crypto is right now. They're going to be able to invest in stocks. But in addition, we're going to be able to have the benefits of self-custody on the blockchain with our stocks. So instead of having to keep your stocks outside of your personal realm, with a broker or a company, bank or whatever, you're going to be able to keep your stocks on the blockchain in your private wallet, which is crazy. And then in the future, where this is going is you're actually going to be able to spend your stocks and your crypto and your other assets at the store. So imagine going to the grocery store and paying for your groceries in Tesla stock or Apple stock. And the way that the blockchain works, there are things called automated market makers that I won't dive too deep into right now, but if you want to go in later, we can. But these automated market makers create liquidity and use things called smart contracts to create that liquidity between all these different assets so that you can spend stocks or digital gold or things like that, where you could spend your cryptocurrency, which very soon I think will be most places you'll be able to spend crypto, whether or not they're getting crypto directly or it's, doing a smart contract where it swaps it into the US dollar and they get the US dollar, which is already happening. They have Visa cards with these exchanges where you can spend your crypto with a Coinbase card or an Uphold card. But that tokenization is going to be massive because digital gold, stocks, bonds, ETFs, all these things are coming over to the blockchain. And it's just going to create this whole new era of opportunity and abundance for these assets using cryptocurrency.
What's the symbol for Sologenic?
It's Solo, SOLO.
Okay, not to be confused with Solana, which is just
Correct.
SOL.
Yes.
Okay.
Not to be confused with Solana, but similar circulating supply. So when you look at, say, the price of Solo right now, which is about 17 cents, it's very undervalued. It's not even that well known within the XRP community, to be honest, even though it's the number one layer 2. In comparison, Solana has gone to, I think, $200-300, somewhere in that range at its all-time highs, with a similar circulating supply of around 400 million. So just in terms of the tokenomics, I think Solo can reach the prices of Solana as mass adoption starts to come in, which,
Interesting.
may even exceed XRP returns.
Oh, that's very exciting. Can we take a quick tangent then? You referenced layer two
Layer two.
technology. Can you explain what the different layers are and what those mean?
Yeah. So a layer one, sometimes called a layer zero interchangeably, is the base layer native asset. So when we talk about the XRP ledger, the XRPL, that's the name for the blockchain itself, the network. And then the native asset of the XRPL is XRP. And then, with another project, Stellar would be the network, XLM would be the native asset on Stellar. So what's cool about crypto is anyone can go and create their own cryptocurrencies on these blockchains. And so you or I, we could go right now, we could create a Peter token or a Jayse token on the XRP ledger on the Stellar network. And that would, in a way, be considered a layer two, though traditionally layer twos build out a little more than just creating a token. So really it's when you create a new token, but then you have a new use case or a new ecosystem that is built on that same network, but it is another token that is not XRP or XLM. That is another layer in. Yeah, it basically is just to create a larger use case for that network that native asset can't necessarily fulfill.
Okay, makes sense. All right, going back to the mass adoption project. So we've talked about so far XRP, XLM, Solo, i.e. Sologenic. What are some of the other mass adoption projects that you personally like?
Yeah, so another one that we're watching right now really blow up over the past few weeks, in the past 3-4 months, is Stronghold SHX. And this is a real gem. It's basically the bridge in a way between Ripple and Stellar, between XRP and XLM. So it's technically a layer two on the Stellar network, like Solo is a layer two on XRP. And what it's doing is kind of a similar mission to Ripple in terms of providing financial services to all, but they're more focused on the ACH network and bridging the actual banking system with ACH, which, if listeners don't know, ACH is a automated clearinghouse, I believe. And that's the network that you use when you use your Visa card or your MasterCard. You do a bank transfer. This is the primary bank network. And so Stronghold is facilitating liquidity using blockchain technology across this ACH network, which is an $80 trillion with a T trillion dollar plus market. Over $80 trillion are processed on ACH every year. So massive, massive amount of money. And they are going to be that bridge between those two worlds, between the blockchain world and that world. And what I really like about them as a company, Stronghold, is that they were a successful business first and created a crypto later. Whereas a lot of crypto startups create their crypto and then they have a roadmap and they say, hey, this is what we'll do. Basically, if you invest in this token, we get more money, we can do this, this, and this. But with Stronghold, they were an already successful, profitable business working with banks, providing merchant services to small businesses mainly. And then they have this cryptocurrency that they're integrating into that already successful business plan. And with them, I have a couple quick notes here, actually, because I did a podcast specifically on this yesterday on Stronghold.
Okay.
So yeah, $80 trillion market. They're partners with a group called Nacha, which is like I think it's the something ACH association, maybe North American or something. But Nacha is partnered with all these other financial services. So they're directly and indirectly tied with all these other financial services within that banking world. They also worked with IBM. IBM was their first major client, and they created a stable coin, which is a coin that's pegged to the dollar and doesn't deviate, for IBM to use internally for payment services. They also have a ton of venture capitalist investments from notable companies like the founding team of Square, one of the co-founders of Bancorp Bank, SoFi, and others. So a lot of venture capital money. And it's one of these projects that I've noticed is flying under the radar intentionally. like they didn't want retail to know, whereas a lot of other crypto projects are blast marketing, telling everyone they can. These guys, I think, have some NDAs and some partnerships behind the scenes. They're actually connected to FedNow, which is the new basically payment system that the US government is doing with the Federal Reserve. They have connections with FedNow. And I think that there's big plans for this token that they didn't want retail to have super early access to, but the cat's kind of out of the bag now.
Mm.
And price wise, this asset has done in the last 3 months 1,600%, so like a 15x, and a 25x in the last 5 months. And that's because people are just now finding out
Starting to
about
get
it. Yeah, and a lot of these XRP people are now coming over and putting some of that money into it. So
Quick two questions. Number one, the symbol is what is it?
SHX. And
SHX. And
it's
then, yeah, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say it's not easily findable because it's not listed on any major exchanges yet, which is one of the pieces of evidence that they don't really want it out there. The best place to get it is going to be a wallet called the Lobster wallet, LOBSTR. And this is something that we teach in my academy. We'll show you how to do all this, all the technical tutorials. That wallet is built on the Stellar network. So you're going to need XLM in that wallet and swap it into SHX. Alternatively, there's a small exchange called BitTrue, which is run out of Singapore, and they are pretty much the biggest XRP friendly exchange. They have the most XRP trading pairs with other cryptos than any other crypto exchange. And they seem to be one of the core partners with SHX in terms of them sending tokens to sell on that exchange. So those are going to be the
Sorry,
two
what
best.
was that exchange?
BitTrue. It's BITRUE.
And they're
BitRue.
based out of where?
Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
depending on where you're at, you might not be able to get access to it. Certain states, the regulatory compliance is not there. So you might go to use the app and, it might say, hey, it doesn't work in your region. So the Lobster wallet is the most universal place that you're going to be able to get it. And for
Okay.
listeners, real quick,
Yep.
there are a lot of fake assets on that wallet. There's a lot of copies of it. So to find the real one, you're going to want to type in when you search their website, which is stronghold.co. If you just type in Stronghold or SHX, you're going to get like 100 different copies of it because it's like this open source Wild West place. We could go and create our own tokens on there and call it whatever. So search their actual domain, stronghold.co, and that'll give you the real asset.
Okay. These are some of the more advanced things that people need to know about because this, yeah, is the Wild West and you can get scammed very easily. So it's helpful to know original source assets, et cetera. So XRP, XLM, Solo, SHX. We'll talk a minute about some of these projects that are off the exchanges because a lot of people, I think, especially for the listeners on this episode itself, they think of like where they want to go buy crypto. They think of the main exchanges, Coinbase and things like that. So we'll talk about how to get those assets that are off the main exchanges in just a second. But any other projects, mass adoptive projects that you like?
Yeah, the last main one that we're focused on is called Corium, and the ticker for that is Core, CORE. There are some other core tokens out there, so it's one of those you have to know where to find
Make
it as
sure
well.
Yep.
Yeah. But what they're doing is they're kind of like the you could say the Ethereum killer. And there's another network called Flare, which is kind of the same thing that we focus on. As in, when I say Ethereum killer, I mean the kinds of smart contract and DeFi, decentralized finance capability. And I think we're going to get into that a little more later with the passive income and stuff. But
Yep.
these are the main passive income blockchains that we're focusing on, Corium and Flare. And they are both basically network bridges. So, within the realm of blockchains are kind of like islands in an ocean where they don't natively interoperate with each other. So you can't send Bitcoin to the XRP, your XRP wallet. You can't send XLM to your XRP wallet. They exist separately in their own universes. And so a lot of these projects now are creating these bridges between these islands so that there's interoperability and liquidity access between those different ledgers. And so Corium and Flare are both focusing on that. And there are also places where people are going to be able to, in the near future, take their XRP to create passive income.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Wired for Impact. If you're interested in creating and expanding your impact, be sure to visit us online at impactnow.com.